Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm going to be giving my second thought on Her. Now, in case you don't know what Her is, which there's a high likelihood, it's a 2013 film directed by Spike Jonze, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson, Amy Adams, and even has a small fun bit part by Chris Pratt. Now, why I don't expect a lot of you to have seen it is that it is an indie film that did scare away a lot of people with a strange plot. Spoiler warning, by the way, I am going to be talking about this plot in its entirety, so if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want anything spoiled, you can go ahead and click away now. Now, why this film scared away a lot of people was that the synopsis sounds weird at first glance. It's not a normal plot, but that's something that's great about it, is this movie is so original. And it has a great message in it. So, in case you don't know, the plot of this film is that it takes place in the near future, at an undisclosed time where now computers have developed to the point of being able to interact with humans as well as any human could. And on top of that, they're able to learn and develop themselves on their own time through reading and writing and studying and stuff like that. And so in this film, Joaquin Phoenix is in the process of going through divorce. He's been separated from his wife for a while. He just needs to sign the divorce papers, which he's been holding on to because he's not ready to move on yet. Now, he goes to the store, he gets the new operating system, which is Samantha, in this case, Scarlett Johansson. And he begins to develop a friendship with this computer that ends up turning romantic because he ends up getting to know this computer so well that he ends up falling in love with her. He's been alone for so long that he's able to fall in love with just the voice. Just the personality alone is so realistic that he ends up falling in love with this operating system. And that sounds really weird, but in the context of this movie, it really does make sense and really is executed so well that you believe it. Seeing somebody so lonely and so broken, it almost feels real to see that happen, like it could happen, especially if you can relate to that in any way, going through a really bad breakup and then having somebody to comfort you. You want to, gravitate toward that person or thing. And honestly, Scarlett Johansson is just so good in this movie that it's believable. She wasn't the original casting choice for Samantha, but actually after finishing filming, they went back. Spike Jonze said, this isn't working. They recast Scarlett Johansson and redubbed it, and it works so well. I don't remember who the original actress was. She still got paid for it, but Scarlett Johansson's version got used, and it is phenomenal. I love Scarlett Johansson. I think she's honestly a little bit underrated as an actual actress. A lot of people just want her for her looks, but I think she's a legitimately good actress. And I think this is her best role. I think she does really well in this. You don't see her face at all. You don't see anything about her. She's just a voice that you hear. And she's amazing in this. The rest of the acting is great too. Joaquin Phoenix is always good. Amy Adams, Chris Pratt, everybody else, they're all really good. Now, in this film, then it develops to a certain point. They've been in a relationship for a while, and she continues to develop. And the best way I can word it is she develops too much to the point of it doesn't work anymore. Like trying to play an old game on a new operating system, it doesn't cross over anymore. You can't run the old program on the new device. And so she says it's time to move on, and he's wrecked. He doesn't know what to do with it because he thought that, I'm developing, I'm growing finally again. She brought him out of his shell. She helped him to move on. She helped him to grow again and to live and to thrive and operate as a normal human being again to a certain extent. And now he doesn't know what he's supposed to do. And that's where the message and the moral of this movie comes in, that it's so good. And that its basic premise is that just because the relationship, just because a friendship, just because a moment ends, doesn't mean that it was a failure. And just because the relationship ends doesn't invalidate the emotions and the feelings that you had in that relationship. If you grew together while in that relationship, the fact that it ended doesn't mean that none of that matters anymore. You can still have grown together, you can still have learned together, you can still have become better people together. Just because the relationship ended or the friendship ended or whatever ended doesn't mean that all of that doesn't matter anymore. And that's the message of this movie, and it's a really good message. It's a profound message, and the way that's presented is so original and so good that it's a shame that so many people were scared away by the weird premise. But It's amazing. Like, if I had to say what rating this was, I don't know what I'd say, but it does have a 8 on IMDb and a 90% on Metacritic, and it deserves it. It's a great movie. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen, and it's a shame that so many people don't want to watch some indie film about a guy falling in love with his computer, because yeah, that sounds weird. I was weirded out when I first heard it. I was creeped out when I first heard it, and then I watched it and went, no, that makes sense. This is really good. And it's honestly one of the best movies to come out in the past decade. And honestly, it's a simple message, but the message is still great. And it's not one that I think I've seen in many movies, maybe in some rom-coms or something. But honestly, rom-coms are so cheesy and silly that that message gets lost a little bit. And it doesn't get lost in this. This is the whole point of this drama. It is a bit of a romance, but it's first and foremost a drama. It's not about the romance, it's about the people. It's more of like in the feel of like Eternal Sunshine. It's kind of that genre. It's very indie, very low budget from what I can tell. I mean, it's got great CGI in the moments that it uses it, but it's not used a lot, and there's not a whole lot other than the cast that would have cost money in this film. It's just, you know, about a guy in his phone basically walking around. That's what it looks like. You don't see her at all. It's nothing like that. It's just a program or something that I downloaded. So honestly, yeah, this is one of the most original movies I've ever seen, and it's done as well as I believe it could have been done. It's really, really rewatchable too. I wouldn't mind watching it a million times. Every time I watch it, I'm still entertained. I still enjoy it. And the message is so good that I think everybody needs to hear that. Everybody goes through a point in their life where they lose a loved one, or they lose a relationship, or they move past a time in their life and go, well, that doesn't matter anymore then, right? That's all invalid now, right? And no, that's not true. It's still all valuable, and as long as you grew, then it's not a bad thing. And you see that on her side, first and foremost, where she goes like, I'm moving on, I've grown past this. But you're like, she's a computer, who cares? But you see it for him too. He's able to say, hey, she took me from this place that I was, not being able to move on past the ex-wife that didn't love me anymore. I was able to, with her help, grow and move past that. What's saying that I can't now grow beyond where I'm at now too? And that's a great message. It is. I think he even is able to learn that he can do it on his own. You see he and Amy Adams are up on a rooftop at the end of the film, and it doesn't turn romantic or anything. They're just there for each other as friends, and that's a great thing. It helps the message of growing doesn't have to involve another person, but if it does, that can be a good thing. And that person may not be in your life for a long time, but even if they are, or not, even if they move on, I mean, that doesn't invalidate that couple of years, or in this case, I think it's a few months. I don't know how long they were supposed to be together in this movie, but it doesn't invalidate anything that happened. So I think this is a great film, and once again, I think it's a shame that not enough people have seen it. So if you guys haven't, I suggest it to all of you. I think it's a great film, especially if you've liked movies like Eternal Sunshine or Mr. Nobody or any of those other really great indie films. I think you'll enjoy this a lot. If you like Joaquin Phoenix, if you like Scarlett Johansson, any of them, you'll really enjoy it. And if you have seen it, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I can't do it without you guys. Thanks, guys.